Hi, welcome back to Cellar Rat TV with your host, Cellar Rat, Addison. So you may have heard me talking about the term racking barrels before, or racking. Racking is really just the process of moving wine from one place to another. So it's usually talked about in conjunction with the barrels here. We do it for several reasons. Mainly to remove the lees from the wine. Also, you hear the term racking the wine off its lees. Lees is the dead yeast and sediment that's sunk to the bottom of the barrel after the wine's been fermented and it's been allowed to sit for a while. So all the yeast that don't get taken out when the grapes are pressed eventually settle and kind of become like silt. White wine, it's this really beautiful yellow. Red wine, it's kind of this really, really bright pink stuff, kind of like sludge. So you can't take it, you can't scoop it out of the barrel, obviously, because the hole is only that big, and it would shake it up too much. So the solution is to take the wine off the top and put it in something else, which is why we have these big tanks that you see behind me. So we really use the tanks as an intermediary kind of stopping point whenever we want to move the wine from one place to another. So for example, after the wine comes out of the press, it goes into one of these large closed top tanks. Anytime that we want to get it out of the barrels and into a bottle during bottling, obviously it wouldn't make much sense to bottle each barrel individually, so we blend it all together into one of these great big lots in the interim. But racking as a term can describe just moving the wine from one place to another place. We often use a filtering system called cross-flow filtration, which is a relatively new technique. But in the past, winemakers would clarify the wine, get it more clear. It's especially important with white wine. If you don't remove all the sediment, it can look cloudy. Maybe you've seen a wine like that. For red wine, though, in the past, they would just rack the wine many times until it was completely clear. So they would suck the wine off the top and put it in another vessel or another barrel, and then they would wait maybe a period of time, several weeks, months, and the sediment would again settle, and they'd repeat the process. And that would be ongoing until you had a completely clear wine. We do that process in general, but before bottling, also the wine is filtered, so we don't rack for just that purpose. You can see right now that the top of these tanks are closed. That's because after the wine is fermented, you can't let it be exposed to any oxygen. So we also have closed top, open top, I'm sorry. So you can see that the top of these big, 20-foot tall tanks are actually closed. They're closed on top because you can't let any oxygen touch the wine after it's fermented, or else it'll oxidize, just like any other kind of fruit. Like you may have noticed an apple turns brown. Well, the same thing happens to wine. So we have to keep it closed. We also have open top fermentation tanks, but we have to use these closed top tanks anytime that we rack the wine after it's finished fermenting. So now you know why we rack, but you might not know how. One of the first episodes of Cellar Rat TV, I actually showed you guys around some tools. You might remember this guy. This is an air pump. And Cellar Rats, this is a piece of equipment that we work with the most, pretty much all day long, if you're doing pump overs and stuff. But we also use it for racking. And it just works with compressed air. So no electricity, no gas or anything. But what's really nice about it for the winemaking process is that the air doesn't actually come in contact with the wine. So that's really great because it doesn't oxidize the wine at all. It does shake it up quite a bit. It puts a lot of stress on it because it can quickly So for that reason, punch downs are preferred technique, but for process of racking, it's pretty much necessary. So the hoses fit on these couplings right here. These big old industrial hoses would attach to the pump, and you can see this is the contraption that goes down inside the barrel like that, and you can adjust the depth of it on the bottom with this little guy, and you have a window here that when the light passes through it, you can actually see any kind of sediment passing through, so you know if you're getting any lees or if you're just getting clear wine, and you can control it on and off right here. And that's pretty much all there is to racking. It's a simple process. People have been doing it for a really long time. See you next week on Cellar Rat TV.